Welcome back to Court of Opinion. We are taking you now beyond the gavel. In New Mexico, authorities held a press conference today. They detailed the child sex abuse case that they have against actor Timothy Busfield. Now, the 68-year-old who starred in West Wing, and he is now being held without bond after surrendering to authorities 5 days after an arrest warrant was issued. Now, the charges stem from allegations that he inappropriately touched 11-year-old twin boys. They're 11 now. They were 7 and 8 at the time that this happened on the set of a TV series that he was directing. Now, the DA didn't provide details as to the specifics of the case, but they encouraged anyone with information on this ongoing investigation to contact law enforcement. Now, on January 20th, the judge is going to determine if Busfield will be granted pretrial release during a detention hearing. We also know that Busfield faces a new sexual abuse claim. It is not a charge in a criminal case, but there is a 16-year-old girl who, through her dad, came forward, reporting it to police on Tuesday. So here's a look at the details from that report, saying that the abuse happened years ago during an audition where Busfield tried kissing the girl and putting his hand down her pants. Now, Busfield begged the family rather, to hold off on reporting this alleged misconduct if Busfield got therapy. And according to the filing, there's this information that the teenager's father was a therapist and agreed to that at the time. So again, no criminal charges in connection with that allegation, but it is out there now publicly, especially through these civil filings and the reporting of it to police. Let's break it down with our power panel. Let's bring back in Michael Sterling, Holland Reed, and Mike Jaafar. Michael Sterling, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I'm going to tell you, one of the things in watching the bond hearing today is I think about due process, right? And what frustrates me in bond hearings that I attend and that I see other prosecutors handle is the way that prosecutors bring forth a bunch of uncharged, unsubstantiated allegations in order to deny you bond and erode your presumption of innocence. And I think that's what we saw today. They talked about 2 decades of abuse and things like that. There's been no evidence of that. They've not substantiated those allegations. They've done none of that. He has a presumption of innocence.
Fully agree.
And when you have a bond hearing, you're supposed to be focused on the charges and then the factors. Is he a risk of flight? Is he a threat to society? And the third thing is, are there any conditions that can mitigate any of those potential threats? And what the prosecutor said was, there are no conditions that can mitigate any of those threats. And my question is, well, what conditions were considered? Was house arrest considered? Was an ankle monitor considered? Yeah. What conditions were considered? So that's the one thing that I took away, not necessarily the charges that he was facing, but how the bond hearing was handled. Because what you got today was the first verdict, not from a jury, but from a judge saying you're denied bond.
And
Michael
the optical. And the visual, Michael, and it doesn't help when you have these silly jumpsuits in these remote court hearings. Everybody looks guilty, even your dentist, right? You could beam Santa Claus into that hearing and people would look at him and say, I don't trust him, right? So it's everything Michael just said, and that silly orange jumpsuit, and these remote court hearings. I mean, he's guilty. In the court of public opinion, he's guilty. It's a travesty. I hate that. And you know what I hate even more? Those self-aggrandizing press conferences that prosecutors have, where they announce the stuff as though like they're this champion of like the champions. It's crazy. I'm not saying this guy's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. But at the end of the day, it's due process violations. It's not fair. The way they lay it out, it just frustrates me. Not just as a defense attorney. I want people to know, like literally, a lot of times prosecutors will have a press conference. A lot of the stuff they say is completely bogus out of competitive zeal.